So Warner Brothers is looking at licensing out its IP to other studios. And this had me thinking about Warner Brothers IPs in general and the possibility of games that they could do, not necessarily the studios who would do them, but they lost $200 million on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And then I also looked up the CEO, David, makes $49.7 million a year, 3 years of his salary. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment if you'd like. But I'm going to talk about some of the things that I think would be smart decisions for WB to do in order to help out alleviate some of the losses and get some of their IPs out there and starting to produce profits for them. But it's not going to, there's no way that they could make up a $200 million loss on that. What I'm going to suggest is stuff that I want to see as a fan of smaller IPs, or even large IPs like Game of Thrones here, or Cartoon Network stuff. Like, I would like to see some of that stuff being used. Superman, we got V for Vendetta, Wonder Woman, and this is just DC stuff right here. They have Beetlejuice, Terminator, Looney Tunes, the DC animated, so like Batman the animated series, and I'll talk more about what I would like to see, but just having these kind of popped up here, it's really interesting to see what they own and what they're doing with it. They chose to do Suicide Squad. Like, it's just really interesting to me. They own, well, obviously they own Mortal Kombat, and they've done a lot with that stuff. What do we got here? Mad Max. Middle Earth, so, well, I guess that's a full series? I don't know, but they do own Lord of the Rings, for sure. So, yeah, Shadow of Mordor. Like, they own the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of, I forget the second game, of War. That's, but yeah, so, let's see, Flintstones, The Hobbit, all of the Lego movies, the Matrix franchise. They own the Matrix franchise. Johnny Quest, Willy Wonka. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. So what I would say is that if you take any of those DC comic or animated shows, you could turn them into, like, let's say Batman the Animated Series, in the same vein as Streets of Rage 4. So like a few $1 million, animated style, a traditional beat 'em up style with Batman, Robin, maybe Nightwing, Barbara Gordon as Batgirl, and Catwoman helping them out as playable characters to go through as a co-op, couch co-op, or online co-op fighting, beat 'em up, side-scrolling video game, 2 hours length at most, for like $30. Batman is still a huge IP. Cartoon, animated style, not gonna cost a shitload of money to make. They already own the licensing for it, so they don't have to license out anything. It doesn't have to be voice acted at all. Streets of Rage 4 was not voice acted. There is cutscene imagery, kind of like a comic book style there, and then you have the people where you just you can read the subtitles there. It doesn't even need to be voice acted, so you don't have to worry about having him, the late great, in there. Things like Beetlejuice, there's an upcoming movie. You could have done a platforming game, whether it's 3D or 2D. You could do a 2D platforming game, retro styled pixel aesthetics or make it more modern with that animated style to go along with that, and 2 hour to 3 hour game, $30. Sell a few million of those. Put a couple million into it. Dexter's Laboratory, Looney Tunes, Bugs and Daffy, Tweety, Sylvester, Tasmanian Devil. I know those are pretty socially irrelevant at this point, but you could have a few mini games in there where you're doing kind of like the little, like, you know how they had a bunch of different episodes in there, and you just kind of run around and do puzzle stuff and little kids stuff. Sell a couple million copies of those, put a couple million into it, not 50 million into this shit. Doesn't need to happen. Make it animated. It's an animated cartoon. The content is animated. It doesn't need to be 3D. It doesn't need to be crazy over the top. Bring back some of the older Mortal Kombats, man. Shaolin Monks, everybody always talks about. I've actually never played that, but apparently that's a really good game. Remaster that. That's not going to cost you very much, or it shouldn't. You shouldn't just upscale it and bring it into the modern era with modern controls. Boom, couple million sold there. Like, it just seems DC Comics, the DC universe, is Zatanna, any of the Batman villains. You could do like a Hulk style Bane game, like that's still Batman stuff. What about Constantine, similar to, I don't know, like a Blade or something, where it's, dude, they own The Matrix. Reboot the first Matrix game, first Matrix movie. Just do it into a story and make that AAA awesome. People will buy that. Scooby-Doo. You could do a Scooby-Doo game. Mystery, whether it's point and click or like a Telltale Scooby-Doo for the kids, or maybe like a Resident Evil style Scooby-Doo. Keep it light, doesn't have to be, mature rated. Resident Evil style Scooby-Doo. Not even Resident Evil, maybe Luigi's Mansion. Puzzles, fill it to the brim. The Flintstones, that's pretty socially irrelevant at this point. I wonder if they own the Jetsons. I don't even see it. The Jetsons would be cool. I don't think they do. The Elmer Fudd, well, that's part of Warner Brothers, or that's part of, what do you call it? The Flintstones, The Hobbit, Happy Feet, that's completely irrelevant at this point. Harry Potter, they own Harry Potter? Oh yeah. They've already done that. Keep doing that stuff. Willy Wonka, make a Chocolatier game. Copy the dude who's creating the second Stardew Valley. Chocolatier, make a Willy Wonka game. Retro style, a simulation of, a life simulator where you're hiring people, firing people, coming up with chocolate ingredients, traveling out and grabbing chocolate stuff in the jungle and things like that. They have plenty of opportunities to create things that people want. They're just Blade Runner. They have Blade Runner. Wait, is Blade Runner what I'm thinking it is? Blade Runner. Oh yeah, with Harrison Ford. That would be sick. Make Blade Runner into a cyberpunk clone, but not that scale. It doesn't need to be that scale, but give us some tech noir, futuristic LA mixed with Tokyo, Harrison Ford style dystopian future, first person or third person open adventure game. Similar, you own Shadow of Mordor. Make it like Shadow of Mordor, but in like a techno noir futuristic dystopian setting, and then have the Nemesis system in there, so you're fighting cyborg, I forget what they're called in that movie, remnants or something, whatever, the robots that are actually basically humans. Have them remember, have them come back, be resurrected or whatever. Like that would be sick. I would buy that, and I'm sure a lot of people would. that's going to take a while to develop. That's something that would be more of a AAA title there. But there are ideas. There are things that they can do. Utilize that Batman IP, the traditional Batman IP. Movie tunes, Mad Max. I don't really know anything about Mad Max. But yeah, that's just a couple ideas that I had when I was laying in bed thinking about WB going, hey, we're gonna license out some of our things to other people to do. And it's like, yeah, license those things out. Send those things out to other people. Somebody pitch some of this stuff, man. 2D platformers, side-scrolling beat-em-ups, Resident Evil style survival. It doesn't have to be horror, but it can be, you know, Luigi's Mansion style Cartoon Network, or Luigi's Mansion style. What about Powerpuff Girls? They own Powerpuff Girls. Do like a fighting game in the same vein of like Skullgirls with Powerpuff. That Samurai Jack, I'm not sure how relevant that is at this point, but those games were good. Then they remastered those. Somebody take on that IP and just do like a standalone game that's like a 3D platformer, collectathon or something, or it could be you know, a story-driven thing, but keep it casual. Sell a couple million copies, only spend a couple million on it. Like, it doesn't need to be ridiculous, but also, you know, I'm not in the industry. I just like to speculate. I like to imagine what I would like to see specifically. So yeah, like a 2D Batman, or not a 2D, but a beat 'em up Batman. I'm down with that. Down with that. Co-op, couch co-op, whatever. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I didn't really know what to make. Thanks for sticking to the end. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.